Hey there, fight fans. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this episode of Combat Sports Talk. Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and joining me this week is the man with the keys to victory, John Keys.
Hey, what's happening, Combat Sports Talk world? We are here live again on another beautiful Sunday. What's going on?
What's up? What's up? What are you trying to position over there? Because
my magic display. See, I need to get this out to you, man, because we thought we were going to get rid of these masks, but Delta says, COVID said, I don't think so. So these are magic displays, and what they are, they're LED masks. You can press this, and you can write anything on there.
Look at that.
Look at that.
So for those of you who can't see the video, he's got this mask, and Combat Sports Talk is slowly scrolling across the mask. So you could potentially have anything that you want on the mask. That's really cool.
Yeah, indeed. And if you guys are want one or anything like that, let me know. I'll get something out there to you. I gotta get you yours though, for real.
I will rock
George.
I'll rock it.
You, George, and your kids and everything like that. I got to get those out there to y'all.
All right. Let's make it happen.
All right, we'll do, sir.
So, I'm really excited because we've got, we broke some news last week about George G-Money Stallworth actually getting back into the ring and fighting this upcoming weekend.
Yes.
So we have to make that fight pick.
Okay, that's fine, because you know what? I actually been trying to do some research on George's opponent. I can't find any info on him. So he's like deep underground guy.
Yeah, he's gonna come out looking like the guy that Luke Skywalker had to fight on the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that dude. Yes.
In Jabba the Hutt's pit, right? Remember that?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. He's gonna walk to the ring. He's like, you serve your master well and everything. Throw the hand gesture and everything. This guy's it's gonna be a good fight, because George is angry right now, because I've been talking a lot of trash to George. So you got to take it out on somebody.
He got to take it out on somebody. And fortunately, it has not been me.
I ain't gonna be the one.
I am not going to be the one either. But somebody who had to be the one was Thiago Moises, who faced off against Islam Makhachev. I don't know if you got to watch the broadcast live or not. Either way, if you watched the fight, do you notice how much effort they went into saying Islam Makhachev, his name? Like, they were like really getting that.
The Hakkinen. Yeah, they had the Hakkinen in there,
I mean, yeah, like it was super funny to listen to Michael Bisping, because he was like, yes, and he's got his British accent, so I was like, I was really looking at the thing, and then Islam Makhachev. Like, come on, bro.
Only one person actually got it right. Well, two people. It was Bruce Buffner and Karen Bryant. They were the only two people that got it right the entire night.
I felt like John Anik was doing a pretty good job too. But
I have to go back, but I know Karen Bryant had it. She actually got it, but yeah, definitely her and Bruce Buffer were the only two I noticed that actually got it.
Yeah. So Islam Makhachev is.
Hey man, I want no Hakkinen on the mic, dog. Okay, I want none of that Hakkinen.
Yeah. The only Hakkinen we want to see is in New Zealand. But still, I mean, we're talking about a guy who's a protege of Khabib Nurmagomedov, and many people say that he has the opportunity to be better than Khabib Nurmagomedov, and it's one of those things that right now everybody they put in front of him gets finished or gets stopped, or nobody has really touched him and shown that they can do any damage. So having Thiago Moises come in this ring as a credible threat to Islam Makhachev's rise and ascent was what we wanted to see. So let's go into it. This is the official decision. This is the official decision. This is where we look at the fights on Saturday night. We had 5 fights on the card. UFC Vegas 31, Makhachev versus Moises. This was Saturday, July 17th, 2021 at the Apex Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Billy Quarantino defeated Gabriel Benitez via TKO at 3 minutes 40 seconds in round number 3. People were saying this was a strange knockout because, Billy Quarantino, the position that he had on Gabriel Benitez whenever he finished that fight.
Yes. And just honorable mention because Billy Q, it was back and forth for the entire match, and then Billy Q came out of nowhere with it. But let's make this an honorable mention for the preliminaries. The preliminaries really set the tone and the pace for the entire matches. And I mean, there was it was some strange fights going on in there. I mean, there were high intensity fights, but there were strange fights. At the end of this, I'll point out one that was really like, wow. But yes, Billy Q, he went in there, got the W. I thought he was going to get choked out for a minute, but he came out on top. So,
all right. Rodolfo Vieira defeated Dustin Stoltzfus via submission in round number 3, rear naked choke. Jeremy Stephens, we thought he was, I guess Jeremy Stephens has to injure his opponent before the fight in order to have a chance because Matus Gamrot defeated Jeremy Stephens via submission, got him in a Kimura, and we don't see very many Kimuras anymore. Kimura defense is really kind of straightforward these days. That you see people grabbing the inside of their thigh that really keeps that arm, tucked in and tight. And so to see someone lose by Kimura, it's just, we did see what's his name, Jacare Souza get his arm broken, right? But
yes,
but but we don't see Kimuras successful very often.
Well, it's sort of like the heel hook. It's been used so much that people know how to defend it well. It was just this time, Gamrut, he just yanked it good, and because I thought that because they were saying that he was doing everything right, and then all of a sudden you start seeing it slip, and it's like, are you sure he's doing it right? And then yank, it was out there, and then he really put the crank on, and Jeremy Stephens, I mean, he had no choice. And as I believe it was John Anik that said, you saw both the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat in the cage at the same time. So it was really sad for Jeremy, but it was just one of those things that he just got caught. It wasn't. Yeah. I wouldn't say it was a rookie mistake. I just saying that the intensity that they went in there and they fought with, it was just a little bit much.
It was a short fight. I mean, round number 1. So
1 minute. Hey, 65 seconds, man, changes lives, man.
Marion Reneau went out on her shield against the return of the cupcake, Miesha Tate, who defeated Marion Reneau via TKO, punches and elbows at 153 of round number 3. The fact is Marion Reneau, was a game opponent, but she was never really leading the exchanges the entire time.
Nah, not at all. I hate to say that, when a person's getting ready to retire, they're just in there just to play the motions, just like the last day of work that, you're like, I'm just here just to, go through the motions and be done ceremoniously.
You really think so?
I don't. I hate to say it about
discounting what Miesha Tate did. I mean, I think Marion Reneau went in there with the intent to win.
I'm not going to discount what Miesha Tate did. And I'm just saying that from her side, kind of seemed like it after a while, because I've seen some of her fights. She's a dogged fighter. Okay. Marion Reneau, if you want to see a person she said herself, her legacy was, I don't quit. And if you go back and look at her fights, she don't quit. She was a dogged fighter. She was rugged, and she would use very sneaky but very intelligent moves to end people's game. Okay, so let's talk about Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate came in there and she was like, "Look, I'm back, and I'm painful," and she was the entire fight. Okay, before they called her Cupcake, which cute nickname, throws people off. Oh, she's cute, she's cute all the way up till she gives you that fist. And then
Mm-hmm.
her real original nickname was Takedown. Her it was Miesha Takedown Tate.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and she's good at it. And as you saw there, and it was kind of a dirty move that, Reneau kind of grabbed the fence, but Miesha wasn't having any of that. And
Oh, she picked her up. Yeah.
She picked her up and gently, but not so gently, put her back on the ground. Okay.
Right.
And I was like, oh wow, that was the nicest way to slam somebody into the dirt. I was like, wow, that was pretty good. But
well, yeah, absolutely. And no crow is eaten because both of us had Miesha Tate winning that fight. So therefore, there you go. We had that pick. I don't always have Miesha Tate. I can name some fights where I did not have Miesha Tate winning. And
I don't think you have Miesha Tate winning the Holly Holmes fight. I don't think you did. And I told you, yeah, she's gonna win that.
I
don't
have
think
to
you
go.
did.
We'd have to go back and check that one.
And I mean, she choked her out pretty good. So,
because I remember questioning whether or not there was a ground game that Holly Holm had. So I'll have to go back and look.
We'll have to go back. We'll have to go back
because I remember saying Holly Holm. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak to it. But we should go back and listen to that recording and see what it is. The thing is that all the recordings are there.
Yes, it is. Where is it at? Wait a minute. Where is it at?
Well, it's on combatsportstalk.com, or what you can do is go to really any of your favorite podcasting platforms. Go back to that time of the of the calendar. We should still have archives out there on your favorite podcasting platform as well.
Indeed.
We're looking at the main event now. Islam Makhachev versus Thiago Moises. Makhachev defeated Moises via submission, rear naked choke at round number 4. I think that they had it right when they said that when Thiago Moises got up from the mat at the end of round number 2, he pretty much knew that there was nothing he could do to win this fight.
Exactly. I mean, are you sure? Was it at the end of round 2? I could have swore they said that at the end of round 1. They said that they saw the fight just leave him.
I think it was at the end of round number 2 because Makhachev didn't really get dominant position until the very end of round number 1. At round number 2 is whenever I think he might have actually cut Thiago Moises, and when he got up, he took like a deep breath and was like, "Dude, I'm in it for 3 more rounds." I don't want to get finished now. Like you go. I think the fighter mentality and not having actually done any more than boxed against Kelechi twice. So let me go ahead and put my credentials out there. But I think you get in your head that like, okay, I've pulled every trick, I've done everything that I know how to do, and I can't stop this guy. So I'm now going from I can win this fight to let me not lose this fight, right? Like, I don't want to get stopped. I don't want to get submitted. I don't want, I want to make it to the bell, right? And I feel like that was what his goal became coming into round 3 and into round 4, because after you get to round 4, it was like,
why am I here?
Dude is fighting for his life at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, so here we are. We're looking at the guy that could be, that is a training partner of Khabib, and he's coming in and doing almost everything that Khabib did, if not, in a more, he's more of a stand-up guy than Khabib was a ground guy, but this guy was really well-rounded to take him down. So this is even scarier than Khabib, because we knew Khabib game. Well, is it scarier which more scarier? Khabib, who we knew what his game plan was, and he did it anyway, or we have a guy that has a game plan where it doesn't matter what we do, he's going to drain your will. Which is scarier?
I think that it has to be the guy that there's no refuge, right? Like with Khabib, he's going to take you down, but there's always the chance that if I can keep this fight from going down, I have a chance.
Wait a minute, but
I'm just you're asking me. You're asking me.
Yeah,
like,
which one is you?
Which poison would I want? Do I want strychnine or do I want arsenic?
because
So
I'm
I'm
like,
trying to make an argument for arsenic over strychnine. That's what I'm doing right
I'm
now.
sorry. Please continue on with
Do you
your
want to get shot or do you want to get stabbed? Like
Because I'm like that. I mean, neither one. I mean, neither one's a good day. I mean, let's
no,
put it
that's
there.
the
Neither one's
thing.
a good day.
It's
But
it's
I mean,
bad either way.
I'm like, I'm looking at Habib, and I'm like, I know what he's going to do, and there's nothing I can do to stop this man. That's literally what you're facing against. The guy that you're like, I know what he's going to do. He's going to come in this ring. He's going to get me on a single leg or a double leg, and I'm going to the ground, and he's going to beat on me. And when he's get tired of beating on me, he's going to choke on me, and I'm done. Okay,
Yeah.
that's literally what he does. And versus the guy, like, no matter what I throw at him, it's not working.
Okay, so that's why I'm making the argument that the
You know,
guy that no matter what you, because at least there is the hope that maybe I'm not the guy that's going to execute it, but if I can keep the fight standing, I have a chance against Khabib Nurmagomedov. That is the
okay,
argument, right? That is the plan. That
okay,
everybody goes in with the same game plan. Don't get taken down.
yeah,
When you're fighting Islam Makhachev, it's like, don't get taken down. Okay, so then he beats you on the feet. Okay, then let's take this fight to the ground. Oh, then he beats you on the ground. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to. He said it to RDA at the end in the post fight interview. He was like, "Listen, Paul Felder, you took a fight against RDA on 2 weeks' notice." He goes, "I'm giving this guy 3 months. There's nowhere to hide, RDA," and that's the way it is. Is that there's no place to hide from Islam Makhachev, and so I'm just saying. Oh, I'm sorry, Islam Makhachev.
yeah.
There's no place to hide from him, and I think that is scarier because at least there is a chance. There's you got to hit 3 bullseyes in a row against or 5 bullseyes in a row against Khabib Nurmagomedov, but there is no board, there is no target against Islam Makhachev. It just doesn't exist. You can't hit a bullseye because nothing you do works. So I think that Khabib Nurmagomedov, awful, odds to fight him. But I feel like that there's a step worse that it could be, and that is Islam Makhachev.
So yeah, so are we making a theory that Makhachev is the perfect fighter right now?
I won't go so far as to call him a perfect fighter. I'm just saying that he is worthy for us to
Oh yeah.
get on that hype train. He's for real.
Oh yeah, he's legit. He's going to be a champion. I can't think of anybody in the division right now. And I will say it, and there's a lot of killers in the lightweight division. There is nobody right now that will stop him from holding that belt.
I just want to see him fight a top 5 fighter now. Like that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I'm tired of him fighting, people that are clearly not as good as him. But the question becomes, what happens when he fights Justin Gaethje and you introduce those leg kicks? What happens when you introduce someone like Michael Chandler, who is a dynamic wrestler? What do you do when you introduce someone like Charles Oliveira, who I would say is another person who's got great striking and great ground game? He's just not a wrestler. He's a grappler. And, when you follow this sport enough, you start seeing that there is a difference between being a wrestler and a grappler.
Yes, absolutely. I would say the deciding factor, like most of Jackson Winklejohn fighters, is what's in the corner. And in this case, I think when we get those fights up there at that level, Habib in the corner will make a difference. Okay,
Yes, it does. And you saw in round number 3. In round 3, Thiago Moises had Islam Makhachev in a heel hook, and you saw Makhachev go stop, look at his corner, and just say what do you want me to do?
Exactly, and
then
that's
Habib
really
starts
scary.
taking over, and then Habib starts taking over, and you start hearing, and it's like, okay, all right, shoot, here we go, and then you see him start disentangling it, and it's like, dude, how unfair is it that you have someone like Khabib Nurmagomedov now standing on, from the outside looking in, what I like to call, I say this a lot to Kalechi about standing outside the maelstrom. So he's outside of the fight, and he can speak to you in Russian and tell you how to get out of these situations, and nobody can understand. Like if I was going into the UFC right now, I can tell you right now that I'd probably start learning Russian on my spare time. I'd learn Russian or I'd learn Portuguese. And
yes, most definitely.
And just so that you can start hearing what the instructions are coming from these from these coaches are. But wouldn't you like to be able to hear Khabib Nurmagomedov explaining to his fighter in Russian how to get out of this heel hook and be able to then do something to stop it? Because at the end of the day, how unfair is it? I agree with you. It's unfair that you have someone as dynamic a fighter as Islam Makhachev, and then you have Khabib Nurmagomedov in the corner barking orders. That's just not fair.
And on top of that, not only is he barking orders, I mean, that's literally, you have the man who retired with the undefeated record, no longer in the fight, but now he's the general on the outside looking in and can tell you exactly how things go. That's really scary.
Let's not stop there though. Let's not stop there, because you've got Islam Makhachev, who is this dynamic fighter on the feet or on the ground. You got Khabib Nurmagomedov in the corner. Oh, and you got Javier Mendez as well.
So you win. You win just by coaches. I mean, there should be like an evaluation as you come to the ring. Like whoever is your corner staff, you'd be like, well, you know what? We're gonna call this off because it's already a one. It's already a humdinger.
Yeah.
Right
And
you know?
you're training with the likes of Daniel Cormier. Even though Daniel Cormier is retired, he still shows up at AKA. So you see him in the background being like the person who gives you the
he's Mickey.
He's the guy who gives you the pep talk and stuff like that.
You're a bum and everything like that, and getting telling them to do this and do that. I mean, AKA.
Think about it though. Think about it. Daniel Cormier is an analyst, so he has all of the footage. And so just so that he can break down the fights, he's sitting there with all the analysts. He's sitting there with all the other fighters. They're going through and deconstructing these fighters so that they can speak on camera. He could take that back into AKA and be like, hey, by the way, something interesting that we noticed while we were watching video is that this fighter does this. So now you've actually got, this may be cheating at this point. But, it's that fair kind of cheating.
So if you really think about it, so we have Daniel Cormier at AKA. Yep. Who else on the commentary staff has their gym? Isn't there some? Wait, where does Trevor Whitman? Where'd Trevor Whitman come out of?
He has his own. He's
gym, out of, huh?
Trevor Whitman has his own gym, though, right?
Yeah, and who fights out of Trevor Whitman's gym?
Well, Rose Namajunas. You've got. I think that Kamaru Usman has gone up there now. You've got TJ Dillashaw coming out of there. You got Amanda Nunes coming out of there.
See a pattern? Okay, let's look at Dean. Dean, he's an analyst up there. Who was his boy? Who was his boy at the time? Dean Thomas.
Michael Chandler.
Michael Chandler. Oh God, I don't blank.
I guess Kamaru Usman, because
Tyron
Woodley. Yeah.
Who was? Let's see here. Who else? Who else on the East Coast was a commentator at one point? The point I'm making is that a lot of these coaches that were commentating also had champions in their stable. Okay,
we just cracked the code.
I think we did. We might get shut down by Dana now.
No. What's going to happen? Someone's going to show up on our doorstep and they're going to be like, "All right, we're going to have this conversation. You're going to stop talking about this on the show, or we're going to drop a train on you." I don't like trains being dropped on me.
Not the hype train you're looking for.
Not the kind of hype train I'm looking for.
I think that's what it is, man. But
I
if you
think
really
that's
think
what it
about it,
is.
because I mean, AKA, for what it is a bunch of wrestling meatheads out there. Okay, they are, and it's okay. I'm cool with that. You know, but they have elevated their fight game in leaps and bounds.
It's the intelligence that we're starting to see. And so
Yes.
this is something that I'm not, that I don't know how it works. I would love for Daniel Cormier or someone to explain to me, how involved he is and how, they prepare for fights, because at the end of the day, in order for him to speak about, or in order for any of these analysts to speak about intelligently about what's going to happen on these fights, they've got to watch a ton of film. And if you find
Hmm.
something, if you find a weakness, why wouldn't you go and tell your boy in your gym?
Exactly.
We figured out the
Exactly.
code. Look at
I
us,
think we got it. We'll
big
hey,
brain people right here.
yeah, watch this space, people. I think we got it. All right.
Yeah, I look. I think that we should write an article. I don't. You know why I don't like to write, blog articles, and that's why
Hmm.
Combat Sports Talk almost never has an article written. Is because I prefer to do the podcast than I
Yeah.
do. But I think it's worth a discussion to write something that really goes into the fact that, specifically Islam Makhachev, because you've got the Dagestani connection, where his career has kind of taken off.
Hmm.
You've got Khabib Nurmagomedov in his corner. You've got Javier Mendez on his corner. You've got Daniel Cormier in his corner. Daniel Cormier has access to unlimited resources, videos, analysts, things like that. I think that it's I think that that's something that will definitely be that's this just we gonna cover that. All right,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and close the book on this one, and put this card on the shelf, because this card is history. Now let's go into our next segment where we talk about the headlines that are making waves in the UFC world. This is Finding the Angles. All right, this is Finding the Angles. This is where we talk about the headlines that are making waves in the UFC world. The challenge with us doing Sunday shows, we used to do Monday shows, and so you would get a little bit of the news cycle. So we're a little bit ahead of the news cycle coming out of these major pay-per-views. So we don't get to talk about some of these things that that happen during the week in the wake of a pay-per-view. And so one of the things that we learned about was the fact that Conor McGregor has said that he came into the UFC 264 main event with microfractures around his ankle where he actually broke it. So
Mm.
Conor McGregor said, I had stress fractures in my legs going into the cage against Dustin Poirier. He said that he had been training without a pad and using and kicking a lot. And so therefore he had the injuries. He said that he was people were asking me when was the leg broke. He said, at what point was the leg break? Dana White asked the UFC, asked Dr. Davidson, the head doctor of the UFC. I had stress fractures in my leg going into the cage. So it's kind of a scary thing if Conor McGregor is telling us that he had stress fractures. His camp knew that he had stress fractures. Dana White knew he had stress fractures. The doctor, the head doctor of the UFC, knew that he had stress fractures, and they let him go into the cage anyway. And I know your argument is about you step into the cage, you let them close the door, you're 100% regardless of what injuries you have. But if people know ahead of time that you have injuries and they let you go into the ring still because of how big the event is, how much money the event is, then your health and safety is placed after the dollar.
Okay. And all right, so let's talk about that. So as you pretty much answered both a half of this question. That I'm a firm believer of if you walk in that cage and you close the door behind you, you say that you are 100%. However, the other half of this conversation is saying, but the you're saying that the CEO of UFC, the doctors that the CEO said are supposed to be, neutral in this entire situation, knew that you had it, and your staff knew that you had it, and they said, just go ahead and walk in there anyway. That's where it becomes a problem. Because while the fighter is one thing, Okay, the fighter's mentality is one thing. It is it's the people outside of the fighters camp, the officials, the doctors, everything like that. Those are the people that are supposed to protect the fighter. Fighter's going to be crazy, but the officials who are running this event, who are trying to make sure there's not a death in the ring or a catastrophic injury in the ring, should be watching it. Otherwise, we have nothing but pit fighting going on. So yeah, I
Well,
have a
yeah.
big problem with this.
Yeah, and so for Conor McGregor to speak so cavalierly about it, like, you go ahead, ask them. I had an injury coming into the ring that led to this disgusting break. And by the way, if you haven't seen it, go to our YouTube page. You get to see my reaction as this. Like, I cannot handle sports injuries. Like, I just can't imagine that Conor would think so little of himself to not want to protect what is clearly a risk. And then, it's just, I'm appalled with the notion that this could be true. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't believe it.
All right.
But if I were to say, if this was true, it's appalling. It's unethical. It's immoral. There's so many things wrong with this.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems if this is true. Okay, so I want to be the one to sit there and agree with you and say that I don't believe this for 1 second. Because if this is true, we need some receipts. However,
yeah,
we gotta sit there and say this is the same Conor McGregor that sat there and told the world that TJ Dillashaw was a snake and that he will betray you. He told
Uriah Faber.
Yeah, Uriah, that he was going to betray him, and nobody believed him until it actually happened. So,
well, the thing is that, what they're saying is that Conor McGregor did release training photos of his bum ankle. That he said that there's a video that's coming out on Netflix, I guess, behind the scenes of the lead up to UFC 264, because they paid the most. And what he said is that you will get to see the fact that he injured his ankle and that there were problems in the change. He goes, I had multiple stress fractures in the shin and bone above the ankle. I also had trouble with the ankle anyways through the years of fighting all the time. He says, I was also wrapping my ankle in every training session. So supposedly receipts are coming.
Okay, so that's one thing. Once again, he is saying that I'm aware of this. I was doing this. I knew what I was doing. That's one thing. But if we get one doctor that sits there and from the UFC and sits there and says, well, you know what, just keep it to yourself, then we're gonna have a problem. If we get Dana White on the screen that sits there and says, well, keep it to yourself, then we're gonna have a problem. Okay. That's what we look for. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit there and be like, so you went into the ring. And good job for marketing Netflix there, Mac Life. I see what you did.
So here's the thing. So there are a couple of doctors that Dr. Rajpal Brar and Dr. David Abbasi were two doctors, and I think they're sports medicine doctors, so they carry some credibility in conversations about this. And what they're saying is that, this is the kind of double-edged sword. On the one hand, either Conor McGregor is lying about being injured and the stress fracture, the fracture being a stress fracture that was a result of training, or there's a malpractice threat to the UFC and the Dr. Davidson, who's the head doctor at the UFC, for letting Conor go into the ring with a known injury that could result in what happened on last Saturday night or 2 Saturday nights ago. So they actually commented, and what Dr. Raj said is, if you're Conor and Conor's camp coach and you have a concern about that leg, why would you continue to focus on using that leg for calf kicks or teeps if you know there's a higher risk of it breaking? Especially with a fighter like Conor, who's relatively new to those kicks. You know the precision is going to be down when it increases the risk. So what they're saying is, Why are you gonna, if you know that there's a problem with that ankle, if you know that there's a problem with the leg and it's got fractures, why use it?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, and for him to say that he's new to those types of kicks, Conor McGregor was a kickboxer. Okay, so it's not that he's new to those types of kicks. It's just that he know better.
Well,
He should.
is he new to, like, I don't remember. Like, I remember Conor throwing various kicks early in his career, and he got away from it because he fancied himself a boxer. Which, granted, his early career was boxing, but he's not a boxer, right?
Right.
It's going for calf kicks. It's going for these other kicks that maybe he didn't throw before, that now fighters are getting better at checking.
Right.
And you would have to think that Dustin Poirier, if you start throwing the calf kick and you see the power of the calf kick, the first thing you do is you learn how to effectively check a calf kick, because
Right.
it's kind of like the Princess Bride. If you're gonna use iocane powder, you better have a resistance to iocane powder.
Touche. Touche.
Wait. Let me just pause here and say, how come I just get like I'm throwing these movie references? I know that's your area. You throw the movie references back at it. Like, I'm giving you some movie references here. Come on, man. You got to give me some props.
I'm giving you mad props because I'm not dissing you for it.
All right.
I'm not saying that this is not the way, man. This does not equate. I'm not doing that. I'm letting you feel your feelings, dog. I'm like, yes, let it flow through you. Yes, I feel the dark side.
All right.
Ugh.
Dr. Abbasi said, Dr. David Abbasi said, fair enough.
Uh-huh.
I think it's possible that he definitely could have something going on in terms of stress reaction or stress fracture. I would definitely be interested in seeing what imaging studies his doctors got, including a potential MRI. But then we got to see the fracture. Like they put out the X-ray photos, right? And that's the thing about social media, right? And trying to keep the fans engaged, you're putting out your pictures of your HIPAA protected pictures out on social media, and you got doctors who can actually look at it. And so Dr. Abbasi also looked at the pictures, and he said that just zoomed in MRI from Conor post. He goes, it's let's see here. I'm trying to read through the scrutinize the pictures. With those pictures, Conor continued to suggest that the injury was in the fight was due to previous injuries. But what Dr. Abbasi said is that the MRI shows contusion, bruising to the ankle joint, appears unrelated to the break based on his view. So basically, Dr. Abbasi said, yes, there is bruising to the ankle. There's bruising, to the foot or whatever, but not where the break happened.
Ooh. Them receipts hurt.
Yeah. Make sure, hey, Conor, just a word to the wise, make sure you know what the receipt says before you present them receipts.
Exactly. Get a professional opinion, then put out. Okay, because you're gonna get a doctor just like what just happened to sit there and says, nah, bruh. Okay, I don't think it's like that.
Right.
So
now, millions of fans who want to believe that Conor went in there with injuries, and that Dustin Poirier wasn't the person who gets credit for finishing Conor. I'm sorry, my friend. It looks like Conor McGregor is just trying to extend this to a Dustin Poirier Conor McGregor 4. So we were talking about it. Nevada Athletic Commission has said that they did not know that there was an issue. So the head of the NAC, Nevada Athletic Commission, Bob Bennett said, if we ever knowingly had information a fighter wasn't fit to fight, we wouldn't let them compete. It would go to a doctor, and a doctor would make that decision as the expert. And so this goes in the face of Conor saying, ask Dana White, ask the UFC, ask David Anderson, or Dr. Davidson about a leg that they knew and that he had stress fractures. So it comes to, they falsified the health report, if this is true. Otherwise, Conor is not being honest about his condition coming into the UFC.
Yes, and this could if somebody's lying, okay, let's just put it out there. I mean, and this whole situation is a mess. Okay, a hot mess at that. Um, from the fact that from what everything that's Connor has said about Dustin Poirier's wife, what he's going to do to this man, he put out a picture of his child, of Dustin Poirier's child, and since
Hmm.
retracted it
Yeah.
immediately. But still,
Did a John Jones tweet and delete?
yeah. And it was just like everything he's doing. It's like it's not cool. None of it is being cool. So could be just another one of his ways of not admitting that he lost.
Yep.
You don't necessarily have to say he got beat, but he did lose. All right,
Yeah.
and that should be more. He could have, and every other time that Connor has lost, he's always been humble,
Right.
you know. But this time, what was it about this time where he is still on fire? Okay, I don't get it. Understand. I don't understand it. Is it because he feared that people are going to say, "Well, McGregor, you ain't got it no more." Which, let's put it to every other fighter that ever had a leg break.
Mhm.
We heard Anderson Silva. He broke his leg. He ain't got it anymore.
Mhm.
Chris Weidman, he breaks his leg. He ain't got it anymore.
Well, it's likely he doesn't have it anymore. He's still recuperating from the leg break. We don't know, but Chris Weidman coming into that fight against Uriah Hall probably didn't
Yeah,
have it anymore. like,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, so Conor
yeah.
McGregor. I mean, the way that he got beat up by Dustin Poirier the time before, I don't think that he's going to be competitive at 155. I I'm sorry, guys. Like, I know that there's a lot of Conor fans that are like, you guys hate on Conor, you hate on Conor, you hate on Conor. If Conor would have won that fight, we would be singing the praises of Conor and start looking at what he's going to do against Charles Oliveira. What does it mean? Connor's back. I mean, go back to when we talked when we had the fight against Cowboy Cerrone, right? Like,
Hmm.
we were like, Cowboy comes out slow, but Connor dispatched him super fast. Like, we weren't
Yes,
super negative about Connor when Connor beat Cowboy Cerrone, but now we're looking at two fights lost to Dustin Poirier in rapid succession, and Conor McGregor is looking for this fourth fight, and Chael Sonnen's like, look, if you get whipped so bad that you break, you don't get a rematch.
that's it. I mean, there's two ways you don't get a rematch. That's with a submission, and that's with a leg break. All right, that because hey, that's just it. Because one, you voluntarily gave up, and two, your body said voluntarily gave up. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so there it is. You know,
Yep.
there
And
is no
so,
rematch clause for
yeah,
that.
and so we're looking at it, and remember, there were two 10-8s in the end of the first in on the first round scorecard. Now, I know
So
that there are
there,
people, there are Connor fans who are like, but wait, Michael Chandler had 10-8s against Charles Oliveira, and Charles Oliveira made it to the second round and finished Michael Chandler. Fair point. Fair point. Here's the response, though. Connor didn't make it to the second round.
there you go.
If Connor
There it
made it to the
is.
second round and finished him, then that'd be a whole other story. But Connor didn't
Exactly.
make it to the second round. So we don't know that Connor would have been like Charles Oliveira. And so
That's
and so that, there you go, folks. It's like what we have, the data that we can only make decisions based upon the data that we have. And the data that we have is that Dustin Poirier finished Conor McGregor in Dustin Poirier to Conor McGregor 2, and then Conor McGregor broke in the rematch.
yeah,
That's 2-1. Rubber match is done. Go on, tread further, Dustin Poirier, because you now get to fight for the championship. Conor McGregor, you need to heal up and find another path forward, sir. But it's
yeah,
not going to be
because
down in Lafayette.
right now you're looking at about even though they say it's about 6 weeks
6
for a
months, yeah.
leg yeah,
Oh yeah.
6 weeks to 6 months.
Hmm.
You're looking at about a year to be back in form. Okay,
Hmm.
that's another fighting year off your life. You're 37 now.
Wait, no,
Okay,
Connor's not that old. Connor's not
I
that
I,
old.
I believe he. Hold on, and you know what? Let me look here. Corner McGregor,
He's 33.
33. Okay, so you're about 37 in fight years. Okay, so
Way to go. Way to go. That's good. That's good.
so no, all kidding aside, if he has it in him to come back and continue fighting, that's fine. But understand this, Connor, you shouldn't fight in the top 5 anymore. You need to start looking in the top 15 and start back there and work your way back up into the top 5, because these fighters now are not the same fighters you came into and you were wrecking shop on. Okay,
Right.
they've done met you and passed you now. Okay, even the top 10, they have met you and met your skill level and passed you, and these are killers now. Okay,
Right. Now Conor
you
has
need
fallen. He's fallen from 5 to 7, so he's now ranked number
Mm.
7 at lightweight.
So you need to start at number 12 and just work your way back up.
Hey, I know
All
a
right.
number 9 ranked fighter he could fight.
Who?
Islam Makhachev. Hey,
See,
go ahead. Hey, go ahead.
See, okay, that's coming from that and that is a Herb Dean fight, if you will, where he must appease to the fight gods again. And no, let's not do that. Okay. Ooh, but what if he does come back and challenge him? What if he comes back and say, "I'll be your Huckleberry"?
That's the thing though, is if you want to fight Islam Makhachev, I mean, Islam's probably going to go up the rankings. I wouldn't be surprised if Islam went up to number 8 or number 7. In the rankings.
Right there.
Sits right there by Conor. Conor, if you want to get at Khabib Nurmagomedov, you want to see him across the ring. That's the fight you want to fight.
Do. And I mean, you go in there and you pound on old boy and be looking dead at Khabib. Khabib will jump in the ring if you talk too much trash.
Yeah, but that's and you know that, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That seems to me like that. Look, why? This is like the most epic show. Like episode 177 is going to go down in the history of combat sports talk lore as one of the greatest shows ever. We figured out the code to how champions are made in these elite gyms. It's by having, a great coach, a great corner, and then an analyst on your, in your camp. We figured that out, and now we have just gotten Conor back into the octagon against Islam Makhachev. That they're going to take that fight. They take that fight, and now he gets to talk about Islam and Khabib. Man,
hold on, we can break the code once more because we have a fight coming with Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis, and you know why that's happening, right? You do know why. You do understand why that's happening.
Because Francis Ngannou went back to Cameroon.
No, well, that too, but but Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane used to be partners. They used to be sparring partners back in the day, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened. That Dana White saw that, and he was like, "Hold on, we have a story here at heavyweight that we cannot deny." Okay, if we get Cyril Gane and Francis Ngannou ain't even got to talk anymore. He just has to show up, and the sparks will be there, and we will have black on black crime, and it will be beautiful. And that's how it went. Yeah.
Well, this is the problem that I have with the Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane fight.
Yes.
They're gonna talk smack to each other
in French.
Like, do you speak French? I mean, I speak a little bit of French.
I speak a little.
But that's the thing, right? Is like this is the first time where we've got two fighters who actually speak the same language, and so it's like I mean English, but you know what I'm saying. Like you've got English as a second language in Ngannou, who his English has gotten better, but he speaks fluent French. You've got a guy coming out of France in Cyril Gane. He fights out of Paris. Like now you could see them just sitting there yelling at each other back and forth in French. And it's like, what are they saying? I heard merde, but I don't know anything more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sacre bleu. And a lot of spitting. There might be a lot of spitting there. Okay.
All right.
All I'm saying is my YouTube closed captions is going to be on fire at that press conference.
He's going to be on point, right? Right. call up all of our friends in France and be like, okay, what are they saying? This is funny, but talking about Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier, we got to talk about Jake Paul. And Jake Paul was trolling Conor McGregor, got that medallion, the Sleepy Conor medallion, right?
Yeah, man.
Well, after Dustin Poirier won the fight at UFC 264, Jake Paul calls up, or he hits him on social media and says, "Hey, do you want this? Do you want this pendant that I had made of Conor McGregor getting knocked out after the second fight?" And Dustin Poirier is like, "Yeah, send it over." Well, he absolutely did.
I know. He actually
asked $100,000 chain.
And he asked him if he wanted to break the leg or do you want him to keep it intact so he could break the leg. It was just like, come on, man. But he did that. So, I mean, Logan got to quit this, man, because I'm actually almost starting to like his trolling. Okay, I'm almost, because while it's quite good. He's a scumbag, but he's pretty funny for a scumbag. You know,
it's quite good. It's quite good that he went and had the chain made, and it looked like Conor McGregor when he got knocked out by Dustin Poirier. But then to send it to Dustin Poirier, and now Dustin Poirier is going to auction it off for the Good Fight Foundation. Like, you could own the Sleepy Conor medallion.
Yeah, you could.
I really do think that for all the Conor trolls out there, I know Kelechi would throw some money at this. They should make they should make a knockoff version of the Sleepy Conor medallion and just sell it like a plastic, kind of a hard plastic version of the Sleepy Conor.
$20 a piece. Yeah,
$20 a piece. That people would make millions. So many people would buy the Sleepy Conor medallion.
Yeah. And it would just be like, get that and get like a $5 coupon to Proper 12 on top of that.
Yeah, I would buy a Sleepy Conor medallion for $20 if I could. Just for the novelty of it, I'd hang it on one of these posters behind me. And it would just be there because it's such a piece of history now. And Jake Paul can totally do that. So, Jake Paul, if you're listening to me, Jake Paul, hey, find yourself somebody who can make you a $20, real super cheap Sleepy Conor knockoff medallions, sell it for $20 a piece on your website. People will buy it in droves. I guarantee you. We all be walking around with Sleepy Conors.
And you making money off of Conor. All right, remember that.
Right.
You're making money. Woo, that is so. We're bad. We're bad today.
This is the best episode ever. Like, I don't know. We're only halfway through the run sheet, and we've already done so much work for MMA. Like, this is it.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do.
Throw some money behind the marketing of this particular episode because this is how it's done.
We need a sponsor, dude. That's what we need. We need some sponsors.
Yeah,
we do. We'll talk after that.
So here we go. Khabib Nurmagomedov. We got the connection. So we've got Conor. We've been talking about Islam Makhachev. We've got Conor. We've got Dustin. We've got Jake Paul. Khabib Nurmagomedov. Here's the thing with Khabib. Khabib that has a fan, and I think she's from the Caribbean or Bogota, Colombia is where she's from. She's from Bogota, Colombia. 66-year-old woman standing out with a sign because, of course, the fight was in the Apex Arena. So Khabib is in Islam Makhachev's corner. So she knew that Khabib was going to be driving by. This lady standing out with a sign, 105-degree weather, saying, "Please stop for a photo, Mr. Nurmagomedov."
That's awesome.
Guess what happened? What had happened?
He did it, didn't he?
Dana White found out about this, brought the lady over to the UFC because their headquarters is in Vegas as well. And
they're right across the street.
He committed to her that he would reach out to Khabib Nurmagomedov and get her there to take a picture with Khabib. And he did. He delivered it. And so this lady, 66 years old, from Bogota, Colombia, got to meet her favorite fighter thanks to Dana White, thanks to the Khabib and Makhachev's camp. They were able to make that happen. She got a picture with her favorite fighter, Khabib Nurmagomedov. That was so great.
That's dope. Okay, and that's really dope. So I guess we can't. Well, are we gonna give Dana a pass for the rest of the show that we can't talk bad about him because of this?
Listen, you know that the people who tend to talk bad about Dana White aren't on the show today. So
that's true.
So we don't need to make a commitment. That's like saying I commit to breathe for the rest of the day. Like, we don't really talk bad about Dana White. Yeah, Dana White says some things. Dana White does some things that I don't agree with, but I don't wholesale talk bad about Dana White.
Right. And
Because
that's a.
it, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
No,
go
I'm
go
just
go
saying.
go.
I'm just saying that because at the end of the day, he is who he is, and like him or hate him, don't like the ways that he does it, or the way that you do like it. He gets results, and right now he's got the way to keep the UFC relevant, keep it growing in the midst of all the turmoil that's happening around. Now, you may not like his friends. I sure don't like his friends, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, you got to respect what he does, and that's all he asks at the end of the day. Respect what I have accomplished.
There you go. And that's what we can do. So, long story short, dope story. Good job, Dana, making a dream come true. I dig that. I dig that.
Hmm.
I really do dig that because I've actually been out there at Vegas at this time of year. A couple of years ago,
Oh
my
yeah.
first trip to Vegas was actually today marks like a 5 years since I left that place, and
Oh wow.
we left on this day, and it was 115 degrees at 9 a.m.
See,
Okay, there,
see, that's the crazy thing about desert weather, man. Because like I
man.
was in Arizona and it was like 107, and and
Hmm.
and in Texas we know heat. Like we know
Yes,
heat in Texas. Don't
yes.
even don't even play.
Hmm.
But that is next level heat over there in the desert. Like
Yes,
you don't even want to play with it.
no, no, you don't, because the heat is like it's like, okay. Imagine opening up an oven and kind of sticking your head in it. Okay, and
Hmm.
once you turn it up to that temperature, and just leave it there. You don't
Yeah.
really understand how hot it is until you fall over,
Right.
and heat exhaustion. That's that. I mean, it's like, oh, it's hot, but then you're like, oh, it's okay. You walk about
Hmm.
5 blocks, and you stop sweating about 2.5 blocks in, and
Hmm.
then you're like, huh, I don't feel, and you're over. Okay, you say that I don't feel too well, but really, little do you realize that's just your consciousness looking over your body, because your body is passed out on the ground and you're
Right.
twitching at that point.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they got
And
they got
about heat stroke.
firefighters hitting you. What's that?
About heat exhaustion
Oh yeah, been there, done that. Yeah, I was
recently.
almost there. I was almost there. I was like, man, I think I've overdid it. And I was like, I'm looking at the ground, make sure my body, I'm not floating over my body. Like, oh, there's my body right there. I was making sure of that. Okay, it was not. It's something. It's
Well,
something.
talk about somebody floating over their body. You like that? You like that? Justin Balboa. Yeah, not a good last name. Not a good last name. You're letting
It was
this Italian
appropriate.
stallion down, right?
It was appropriate, man, because he took a beating too. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we talked about it maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. Joe Schilling, who's a Bellator fighter, you know, super great striker. Uh,
Mm,
has an interaction with this guy, Justin Balboa, who was intoxicated, feeling his being like Platinum Mike Perry, got that 1% African blood in him, so he feels like he can say all the lyrics in a rap song.
okay.
Um,
Okay. Well, I'll give you that 1%, because with a name like Balboa, suggests that he is Italian, and the fact that he has dark hair, and the pure 100%. I am Italian 100%. They are blonde hair and blue eyed. And with him having dark hair, it suggests that he is Sicilian, and Sicilians were invaded by the Moors back in the day, which went from blonde hair, blue eyed, to dark haired, brown eyed people. But go ahead.
okay, I didn't know that we needed the whole etymology of how this guy might why this guy still don't have the right to say all the lyrics to the song. Um,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. Learned that from
he's
an
drunk.
Italian. Yep.
He's
Yep.
alienating the staff, alienating a lot of other people.
Hmm.
Bumps into Joe Schilling as Joe is coming. It looks like from the bathroom or whatever.
Hmm.
Turns around, says something to Joe Schilling. Joe turns around. The guy flexes at him real quick. Joe drops him with a 2-piece, maybe a 3-piece and a soda. And
Yeah.
now Justin Balboa is suing for $30,000 in damages, but the entire damages case is up to $100,000 that Joe Schilling could be on the line for. So we're gonna keep this, top of mind as this plays out. Perhaps there's going to be some type of some type of agreement where they settle out of court.
Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why this won't fly. Okay, uh, Joe, in my opinion, needs to go ahead and stick to his guns, say that, and continue to say what he said before. I felt threatened. He was aggressive towards me. I was defending myself. Now, and he did exactly everything he did with just hitting him twice. I think he even hit him once. Was it once or twice? He might have hit him
two. He got
twice.
him with the left, right, and the right's what dropped him.
Yeah. Well, guess what? That he actually exerted minimal force to put him on the ground to defend himself. So he could literally argue that, hey, he had been aggressive towards everybody the entire night. He flexed at me. I defended myself and I walked away because I did not want to. I was fearing for my life, and I would totally have to say, you know what? I gotta let that fly because
this is the thing. If it had happened in like New York, maybe Justin Balboa had a better case. This happened in Washington, maybe Balboa would have a better case. This happened in Florida. It happened in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And what we know about Fort Lauderdale, Florida, like it or not, it is a stand your ground state.
Yes, it is.
So the moment Justin Balboa made an aggressive move towards just Joe Schilling, Joe Schilling is empowered by the law to defend himself, which he did with a 3-piece Minnesota. And I'm sorry, Justin Balboa, you caught it. You caught it all.
Yeah, and it was a darn shame because nobody went to pick you up afterwards. Okay,
no, that's the thing. You see in the video, the woman that's with him, after he gets dropped, she goes back and sits down, and he is laying on the floor. Like, she didn't rush to his aid. She went like, "Oh no, I don't want none of that. You want some of this, old man?"
She's like,
"No." Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a stand your ground state, and Joe Schilling stood his ground, and Justin Balboa fell to the ground. Like that's how it works.
Yeah, he caught 2 hot ones and for his troubles. So
there it is. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. Of course, the venue is also being sued. I don't understand how suing the venue works whenever your boy basically got into a fight at the venue.
They think that what this is pretty much that they're going to try and put a little pressure on the venue, saying that, do you want this type of press, or are you going to settle quickly? I hope the venue sits there and says, no, we want this type of press because we want
all the smoke.
We want people to know that MMA fighters come and hang out here, and you really shouldn't start nothing. Yeah, that's what I would market.
Well, somebody else who's in the Florida area who's looking for a fight. Maybe he should go in and go flex at Joe Schilling, and that is Luke Rockhold.
Is he in Florida? I thought he was a California guy.
Nah, Luke Rockhold.
Oh no, he did go to
Florida.
Yeah, he did start training. Yeah, how's that working?
Yeah, remember, Luke Rockhold is former Strikeforce champion. Luke Rockhold is former UFC middleweight champion.
Yes,
and then he learned that he has a glass jaw. Michael Bisping is the one who introduced him to glass jawland. And now Luke Rockhold can't find an opponent because Luke Rockhold thinks that he is still relevant. And it's like, nobody wants to fight you, not because they're scared of you like Islam Makhachev. No, nobody wants to fight you because you're irrelevant.
Exactly. They're like, who are you? You need to go ahead and start once again. Look, guys, I understand you guys have been at the top. You guys have been at the top of the mountain with your belt hanging on your shoulder across your waist. But guess what? There comes, like Busta Rhymes once had a song called "Legends of the Fall Off." All right, you guys have fell off. It's time to start from the bottom and work it back up.
Right.
You gotta get up there and get some respect in your name. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Be like that Drake song. Start from the bottom. Now I'm here.
Exactly.
You got to start from the bottom. Come on.
Start at number 15 and just continue to work your way up. It's just like, make them say your name. Say it, respect it, or check it. And I mean RESPECK.
Right.
Okay. All right. That's all you got to do. Just continue to do that. Don't worry about your hand placement when you're doing it, when you're trying to do the face off. Just keep them balled up in a fist. All right. I'm just saying.
And it's easy money. That's the thing. Like if you're that great, Luke, I'm talking to you. Look, I'm looking straight into the camera.
Look at him, dog.
Look at
Just
me.
look at him.
Luke, I'm talking to you right now. If you're that good, if you deserve these top fighters, then what is a minute and a half in the ring against a guy who's ranked number 15? What is the difference? What is the difference?
Yeah,
go in there,
exactly.
you have your fight, and that way now you got a recent highlight film. Because if your claim to fame is that you were a UFC middleweight champion and your belt doesn't have rubies on it, then you are the previous generation.
Yeah, exactly.
If your belt isn't shaped like an octagon, you are the previous generation. So whatever you accomplished before the changing of the design of the belt is irrelevant these days. You need a belt. Yeah, you need a belt that's shaped like an octagon.
Yeah, you can't be part of the modern wing now. You're part of the pioneers now.
That's right. Okay? That's right. So just take that easy money. Go in there, fight a top 15 guy. If you're that good, you wipe him out. Now you got a highlight. Now people will be like, oh, maybe Luke Rockhold is back. Then fight yourself a 10. Oh, maybe Luke Rockhold is back. And here John and I, we're gonna be like, oh man, Luke Rockhold's back. But if you want to sit there
bottle is here.
Yeah, if you want to sit there and fight a number five guy right off the top, number one, that doesn't help a number 5 guy. Because you're not ranked right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. And
so if you're not ranked, why would a number 5 guy take a chance on you? Because at the end of the day, yeah, you are good. And there's a fighter's chance at every time. So why would I take a chance on somebody like Luke Rockhold? No, you fight your way up. You make a name for yourself again, and then now you can start saying that the bunch of bums are chasing, that the bunch of bums are running from you. Islam Makhachev is doing it. Everybody's running from him. Everybody ran from Kamaru Usman.
I mean, seriously, this is one of those moments where he could literally be like the boogeyman and just start at number 15, wreck shop on him, and be looking at the camera like, you see what I did to him? You next, number 14, and walk off. And every time Joe Rogan sticks a mic in his face, hey, Luke, how was your fight? And he just says, number 14, you next, and just push the mic out the way and walk out the ring. That would be all the promo he needs. He needs a Goldberg promo.
Yeah, just
you need to be like Goldberg.
Boom. And if you're that healthy, be like Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland was fighting like every other week. He was finding a way to fight. I'd be like, okay, or even better, Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev was booking fights for the fight after the fight he was still planning on fighting.
Yes. He was literally he was fighting on Saturday. They said we had a fight on Wednesday. Oh, I'm gonna be there. It's like, wait a minute, what? He didn't care.
Yeah.
That's what you need to be now, Luke. Quit, you're an underwear model. You used to be, that's great. You dated Demi Lovato, that's great too. Guess what? You're trying to be a killer now, so go do some killer things.
That's right.
Start eating raw meat. Start eating Alpo. That's what you need to do. Start eating Alpo and living outside.
Name a killer who goes after the toughest game first. The Lions don't take out the biggest bull. They take out the small bulls first. That's what I'm saying. Like that's how you do it, Luke. So go do it.
Yeah, Vin Diesel said it best. You go to the yard, find a dude, whoop him down so bad that nobody else wants to mess with you. And then look at the next guy like, you next.
Hashtag family, baby. Hashtag family.
Nothing stronger than family.
All right. Last thing, and then we get into the fight card. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 3. They have a date, October 9th, 10/9/21. We are going to see the rubber match, the number 3 time they're getting into the ring. Personally, for me, I'm still in the corner of Tyson Fury. I don't think we're going to see anything different. I still say it to this day. Tyson Fury is a better boxer. I think Deontay Wilder has got more power. But at the end of the day, Tyson Fury, that head movement is ridiculous. That footwork is ridiculous. Deontay Wilder is going to have as much trouble hitting Tyson Fury in the third match as he did in the second match. And so I think Tyson Fury probably won't get the finish this time, but I think Tyson Fury still wins by decision.
Yeah, I hope in this off time that Deontay Wilder's been working on the technical stuff. Okay, because the power is there, but the technical stuff is not. Whereas Tyson Fury, he, the age-old question is, what is better, technique or natural ability? And I will always say technique, all right, because technique requires something that natural ability sometimes doesn't, and that's drive, that's passion. Okay, you've got to want it to build it. Okay,
right,
to build it, to make it perfect. It is a passion that a person that with natural talent, rarely has. I'm not saying that Deontay Wilder doesn't have it, but Fury's been having it.
So
Okay.
let's go ahead and answer Kangaroo Jack's question. Kangaroo Jack sent this at the very early part of the show. Just wasn't relevant until now that we're talking about boxing.
Sorry, Jack.
Yeah. So he goes, got a question for both of you. What would be more difficult, fighting a heavyweight boxer or a naturally gifted boxer? I think you answered that question, though, with it would be the naturally gifted boxer or the person who has the technique. That a heavyweight fighter, it is tough because the fight, it's a one-punch knockout. Anytime anybody could get lights out, that's always the risk. But with a naturally gifted boxer, the knockout is there. The TKO is there. Getting broke, just getting cut up, swollen, all that stuff with a guy who has technique, because you could land that big punch on a heavyweight boxer as easily as they could land it on you. But the problem is that a naturally gifted boxer or someone who has great technique, you can't hit them. Boxing is about not getting hit.
Right. I mean, and you can answer that question by going back and looking at the old UFC tapes where they had, fighters from all over the world, different sizes, no weight class, fighting each other. Okay. And if you wanted to answer a question, you could tell who are the good fighters, are the naturally gifted fighters. Okay. And who are the ones that really trained at it. Royce Gracie was not a naturally gifted fighter. He was a trained fighter. He was a 4th degree black belt at the time of UFC 1. Okay. So he had training. He and that's what I believe. Now, Rickson Gracie, he was the naturally gifted fighter. He was the killer. Okay. And if you really want to go watch what he did, there's a documentary out there, okay, called Choke. Watch it. It details actually the first official rules for MMA, and that led to the creation of Pride. Okay, so I'd strongly suggest to anybody, if you really want to get into the mind of Gracie's, or really want to know how Pride all began, how we got the rules of why is it that a person, where the 10 count went and everything like that in MMA, you need to watch that because it was really interesting. It was really funny, and like I said, it's crazy to listen to the Gracie philosophy. You'll be like, okay, I understand now why is it that they're so dogged like they are. But there you go.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to go into our final segment of the show, and that is the fight card.
All right.
This is the fight card. This is where we talk about the fights that are coming up this week. We've got 2 big ones, and then one big one for us, the fans. And the fans of Combat Sports Talk. We're going to talk about it. But first, we're going to go off with BKFC, the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, number 19, Paige Van Zant versus Rachel Ostovich, Friday, July 23rd, 2021, at the Florida State Fairgrounds in Tampa, Florida. There are 5 fights on the card. We are going to only make our picks, flash fight picks for the main event. But you got Tyler Starling versus Cassie Robb fighting 125 pounds. Britton Hart's back. Britton Hart.
Yes.
Okay. Britton Hart, if you win this fight, I'm reaching out to you. We're going to get you on the show because this is going to be 2 in a row for Britton Hart. Britton Hart is fighting Jenny Savage. You got Blueface. I don't know who Blueface is. We're going to look up Blueface.
Okay, all right.
Paige
So
Trujillo.
Blueface, I do know who Blueface is. Blueface is a rapper. Okay, he's been on Instagram because he's known for having like 2 girlfriends at the same time, and they're all living together and everything. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, Blueface is a rapper. I've seen him. I've seen Kane Trujillo. Kane's in trouble. Okay, unless Kane is like a martial art master that we didn't know anything about. Okay, Kane's in some surreal trouble. All right, run Kane, hit the bicycle, run the match.
All right. We got a heavyweight fight, Arnold Adams versus Michael Terrell.
Mm-hmm.
And then a main event of the evening, 125 pounds, Paige Van Zant, PVZ, 12 gauge versus Rachel Ostovich. Now, who you got in this fight? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make mine pick real fast. Rachel Ostovich, she's a striker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I really think that her striking is going to prove to be better than Paige Van Zant. You know, the challenge that Paige Van Zant had when she fought Britton Hart is the fact that Paige is a UFC fighter versus Britton Hart, who kind of made her way through the fight game but never reached the apex of women's MMA, which is the UFC. Rachel Ostovich is also a UFC fighter. She is a striker. She's been at the pinnacle and stayed in the UFC longer than Paige Van Zant. And I'm not talking about number of years. I'm just saying she was more recently an MMA fighter in the UFC than Paige Van Zant, who left at the end of her contract. Rachel Ostovich, even though she lost her fight, her last fight in the UFC, she was looking really good. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Rachel Ostovich to beat Paige Van Zant on Friday at BKFC 19.
Okay, so this is going to be very interesting because, have you seen a person that's that's at the same weight but built very differently?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I after looking at these two, I see that Rachel looks like she's got more power than Paige does. So I too will pick Rachel. I will do, just because I think she has the more power. She is a known striker. Paige was not that well known as a striker. Okay,
She was at Team Alpha Male. They're wrestlers over there.
exactly.
So,
They're wrestlers known for doing the guillotine choke. Okay, so that's their thing. So I don't see it going anywhere. But I mean, but I will say this: the fight to actually also pay attention to is not just the Blueface fight versus Kane Trujillo. I'll watch that just for any. But it's the Britton Hart versus Jenny Savage fight
Go
because
Britton.
because Britton's got heat about this because she's upset because she has put blood, sweat, and tears in this, and she's like, why is it that these two get a main event and I don't? She said very strictly, Paige Van Zant said you come for the boobies and you stay for the real fighters. She's like, well, I'm a real fighter and I'm gonna stay here for them. And kindly mic dropped and walked off on the press conference. So she's really upset, and I'm gonna feel really bad for Jenny Savage because I think she's got some. There's gonna be some anger beating going on, and Jenny gonna be on the end of it. So
Jenny ain't. Jenny. Yeah, it's gonna be bad for Jenny. I'm
Jenny
going for Britton Hart. Yeah.
She better come with a handgun.
How savage she is. You're gonna see how savage she is. But but the thing is, I got Britton Hart. Shout out to her. Hopefully she will come out. I mean, she's already beaten Paige Van Zant, so we know that she's a straightforward fighter. She's gonna come at you. Jenny better weather the storm if she wants to try to make it out of that first round. So we'll see what happens there. Coming up next fight, we've got UFC Vegas 32, Sanhagen versus Dillashaw. This is the return of the Snake, TJ Dillashaw, Saturday, July 24, 2021 at the Apex Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. We've got 5 fights on the card. Trevin Jones versus Tony Kelly. We got Aspen Ladd versus Macy.
Hold on. Kieson.
Kieson?
I think it's Kieson.
Kieson. Okay. Thank you so much for the backup. See, George would have just had me repeat it like 6 times. I'm doing this one for you. Macy Barber versus Miranda Maverick, which is going to be a great fight. We're going to pick that fight. Brendan Allen versus Puna Soriano. And then the main event of the evening is Corey Sanhagen versus TJ Dillashaw. Let's go ahead and pick the Macy Barber fight. We got Macy Barber versus Miranda Maverick. Who you got?
Man, I'm going Macy Barber, not only because of my loyalty, but because I think she's got the skill set to go ahead and take down Maverick.
You know what? I like Miranda Maverick.
All
I
right.
remember seeing her fight. I honestly, I think Macy Barber is a more talented fighter. I think
Mm-hmm.
that she's got a lot more weapons, and she's just so freaking strong. She's a beast.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Look to this. This is going to be a good fight, ladies and
it's gonna
gentlemen.
be a good
Don't
fight. So,
sleep. Don't go get the drinks on this fight.
but
Okay.
Miranda Maverick is not a slouch. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Miranda Maverick. You've got Macy Barber. We'll see who wins. Somebody's eating crow on this one, unless
Yes.
unless we choose differently on Corey Sanhagen versus TJ Dillashaw. Who you got?
Okay. So based off the code breaking that we've done earlier in this show, um, Trevor Whitman's going to be in that corner. I'm going with TJ Dillashaw against all better instincts because I'm not a TJ. I'm not a fan of the dude. I'm a fan of his work. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
highly upset that he cheated, that he got popped. Okay, but he has done his 2 year sentence, and it's time for him to come back. Let's see what he does.
Well, it's a great fight. Corey Sanhagen, of course,
Oh God, yes.
is a dynamic striker. I mean, his highlight reel knockout of Frankie Edgar throwing that flying knee was unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
just put Edgar out. But TJ Dillashaw is kind of royalty at 135 pounds, and so I just can't imagine that TJ Dillashaw and his unorthodox footwork, the way that he puts together his combos, things like that, is something that needs to be tested because he has been out of the octagon for a while. His last fight was embarrassing against Henry Cejudo. So it's like TJ has something to prove. And I think that what we're going to find out is TJ Dillashaw still has it at 135. I got him winning against Corey Sanhagen in the main event, but don't blink because Corey Sanhagen really has something to prove. He wants to get at the winner of Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling. He's going after that belt.
Oh, they both are. I think this is going to be a number one
contender. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think this is going to be it.
All right, last fight is OKC Cannafist 1. The very first Cannafist fight for OKC. This is Saturday, July 24th, 2021 at the Lost Lakes Adventure Park in Oklahoma City. It's also on Fight TV for $19.99. Fighting at 185 pounds is Elijah Corey versus George Stallworth. There's like 1,000 fights on this card. Let me just say that there are a ton of fights on this card. If you actually go to the event, which I'm planning to go to the event, they're having rap battles. Like this thing is if you can fight with words or with fists, you're welcome at Cannafist. OKC Cannafist 1. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go through the whole card. We're just going to go through the feature fight that we want to call, and then we've got the co-main and the main. But just know that they're going to have rap battles at OKC Cannafist on Saturday afternoon. So the feature fight is Elijah Corey versus George G Money Stallworth. That's right. One of the co-hosts of Combat Sports Talk is stepping back into the ring on Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, and we got to make that pick. So, John Keys, who you got?
Well, based off the investigations I've been doing into Elijah Corey, I haven't been able to find much information, but I do know G Money Stallworth, and I've been trying to gas him up and get him mad and angry so we can see an anger beating come on Saturday. So I'm gonna pick George G Money Stallworth for an impressive technical strike clinic.
All right. Well, just to be the contrarian. No, I'm just kidding. There's no way I'm picking against George. Like, are you crazy? Like,
we're not going to take that L
George tonight. I'm probably going to see George tonight. He would kill me if I'd picked against him.
Oh yeah, but he's probably watching now.
Yeah, he probably is. Here's the deal. I absolutely have George Stallworth. I remember talking to him, months ago, where he said, "I want to get one more fight in." there's nobody that I know that is more passionate, more dedicated about trying to get back into this ring and really prove not only to himself, but to his students, to us, to everyone that he still has it. And so I have seen him cut the weight, be disciplined. He's training multiple
Yes.
times a day. He told me that he sees this fight getting stopped. And so therefore I
Oh,
have
wow.
George G Money Stallworth. I think he's going to finish this fight before it goes to the judges' scorecards, and we're going to see him walk away, probably even get offered another fight, and hopefully he'll take it, and we'll see his career take off like we know it can. So that's it. We got the co-main. The co-main event is Montaigne McFarland versus Daniel Turner. It's a 200-pound. It's a fight at 200 pounds, and then the main event of the evening: Shane Armstrong versus Alex Perez for the very first 155-pound Cannafist title, lightweight title on the line. Shane Armstrong versus Alex Perez. Don't know anything about any of these fighters, so we're not going to pick them. But
Fair enough.
you know, it'd be a toss-up. Follow us on social media. On Instagram, I'm at Combat Sports Talk.
And I am at Keys to Victory, where I have been trying to chronicle my weight loss, even though I've tried to kill myself earlier last week. But I will be back on it come Monday because I got some things to talk about as well.
All right. We also have George. If you want to follow George G Money Stallworth and his run up to the fights this coming weekend, you can follow him at Darkside_Muay Thai_. And if you want to see what's up with KC Kalechi Onyebuchi, you can follow him at Push Pull Pray on Instagram. You can find us on www.combatsportstalk.com, and we are on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Let me throw those up there. Blam. There they are.
Oh, there they are. Oh, wow. There they are.
Shout out to MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, MMA Mania, Bloody Elbow, and the Intelligent Defense Discussion Group, where all the other sites where we're providing the stories that we use on our show. We still have been neglecting our discussion group, so we got to find a way to get back on there. Those folks out there who's still waiting for us to engage on the Intelligent Defense Discussion Group, we are coming with new topics for show. All right. Let's go ahead and call it. On behalf of John Keys, I'm Ryan Smith, reminding you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs. We'll catch you next time.